This episode of Juice Guru Radio is brought to you by TriBest, making healthy living easy.
Welcome to Juice Guru Radio. Discover what the magic and power of juicing can do for you. And now, your host, best-selling author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Juice Fasting, Steve Prusak.
Well, we're excited. We've got Danielle Sade here. She's the founder of Healing Fragrances School of Aromatherapy and the author of the Aromatherapy Beauty Guide. So get yourself some water, tea, or juice. We'll be back right after this with Danielle Sade.
Did you know you can make a great living in the hottest new business trend today? The Juice Guru Certification Program is the world's first online course to give you the knowledge and marketing skills to excel as a juicing coach and start making money in no time. Find out more at juicecoachtraining.com.
Juice Guru Radio.
Well, I'm really excited to be back with you. We've got Danielle Sade here, and like I said before, she's the founder of the Healing Fragrances School of Aromatherapy. Over 30 years experience teaching, practicing, researching plant-based medicine and aromatherapy internationally. And we're going to hear all about her journey to this and what we can learn about the healing properties of essential oils and how we can incorporate it into our natural personal care products. Let's look at the show right now, Danielle Sade.
Well, thank you for having me here, and it's actually quite interesting as well because when you asked me about my journey, I actually started my journey through plant-based medicine and nutrition, and it led me to wanting to know a little bit more about the plant kingdom, and so I went on to discovering more on herbology, and then it led me to this wonderful topic of aromatherapy and essential oils.
Oh, okay. So it actually started with a message from the plants right to you, in a way.
Well, yeah. I guess you could say that, but it started. The nutritional aspect started is because I wasn't, I had psoriasis when at a very young age, most of my adult life, and that led me. Allopathic medicine did not really seem to help me, and because it is a chronic skin condition, and I needed to find another way of helping myself and to live with this. And so I went into plant-based medicine and moved into that and studied everything I could about what I'm putting into my body as nutrients, and decided to eliminate anything that isn't going to do anything for me. I don't want it inside of me. But then there was even more of another aspect in the healing process. Is I recognized I was feeding myself properly. I was trying to do all the right things, but there was one thing I didn't do. I didn't take care of my emotional health and well-being. And during that time, I was just very adamant about healing my body, but that was actually making me more stressed than when I was, sorry, I'm getting confused. But what was happening is that it actually, the component that I integrated, which was a very important part of the healing process, was how to relax the mind and the body at the same time, and while I'm putting nutrients into my body as well. So I did discover essential oils during that time, and it was an aha moment. And from then on, it became my life, my journey, my passion, and everything.
It's interesting. I mean, so many gifts come from the plants, obviously. And when we think about the nourishment, and we talk about the juices and getting some of that, the blood of the plant almost into our body to heal. So many gifts. So I love the idea of aromatherapy, and I'm like your target audience because, I've got my lavender oil. I love to help me relax, or I've got some spearmint when I have a headache and I put it on. But I don't understand why it works. I love it. I'm so attracted to it. But there's so much wisdom to be gained through aromatherapy. So I'm excited to really dive deep into what you've learned, how we can heal with it, and how to integrate it into our lives more.
Mm-hmm. Well, it works on many levels. Well, first of all, it works through the olfactory system, and the olfactory system is very closely related to the limbic system, the hypothalamus. And what it does is that there are some essential oils that basically can calm you and relax you because of their aroma. But they also have sedating and relaxing therapeutic properties as well. And that as we inhale it, we're also moving it into our respiratory system, and it's going into our lungs, then into our bloodstream. And when we use it topically, there's about a 10% chance that some chemical components can actually absorb into the skin as well. So it works on many levels. It works on, I call it a three-dimensional healing process. Is that if you do have something going on in your body, is that when you inhale the aroma, it basically calms you, relaxes you, and then it actually works on a physical level as well. Like if there's a wound, or if there's a cut, a burn, or so forth.
It's interesting because you think of it, I think of olfactory and smelling, and I never think of it. Yeah, it actually becomes part of us, though, doesn't it? It
basically changes your perception. It actually changes your perception of things. So think about it when you're walking into a room and you smell something pleasant. What does your body feel? What do you do when you walk into a room and you smell something pleasant? You have this this smells amazing. And then what happens when you're not smelling something pleasant and it might be something aggressive? You actually move into a state of survival and into a fight and flight state. So when we're using essential oils, most of the oils will trigger a state of rest and digest and relaxation and calmness and peacefulness if you're using it properly, if you're using it in the right dilutions. Because if you use too much of it, it can actually aggravate the nervous system as well.
Oh, that's interesting to know. So there is a lot to be gained through this, not just, put some drops of lemon in the aromatherapy diffuser, but there's an actual proportion of how much we would want in there diluted with the solution and that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely, yes. This is the very important aspect of using essential oils, is that dilutions play a major role in its therapy as well. And there's a consensus that less is more as well, is that when you use a small amount for short periods of time, it's more effective than when you're using a large amount for long periods of time. It actually can have adverse effects. There's a therapeutic window that we're talking about. We're talking about a therapeutic window. So therefore, when you're using essential oils, it has to be very subtly, and to gain the sense of calmness, relaxation. And then there's also another aspect of therapy, is when you want it to go into more of the antimicrobial aspects of it, then you might need to raise the dilutions in order for it to work effectively, and you need to be very cautious on how high you raise it so it doesn't have any form of adverse effects as well. So training and education is a big thing in aromatherapy. It's very important for somebody to understand each oil they're using, even lavender that is so commonly used. Because
being that I don't know much about it, there's an acclimation I find when I'm using lavender oil on my pillow, like I'm needing more and more and more to get benefit. Is that something normal? Like, I don't know if that was just me, but I was like, all right, I started with 5 drops, then I was up to 15 drops, and I just wanted more and more. Is that some sort of addictive personality, or do you get acclimated and need more to get you into the state you want to go? I just start craving it more.
Well, maybe because you've basically recognized what it can do for you, but actually if you put more lavender, lavender essentially is a calming and relaxing essential oil when you use it at a low dilution. However, when you use it at a higher dilution, it becomes a stimulant. All the oils become a stimulant because it aggravates the olfactory system. There's also an olfactory exhaustion if you use too much of the essential oils. So we need to be very careful. And we also need to be careful that, over diffusing, like sometimes you walk into places where there's diffusers going on all day long, and that actually is polluting the air. A diffuser shouldn't be going on all day long, maximum a half an hour or 15 minutes for therapy. And that's it, because they, while they're being diffused, their molecular structure changes, it integrates with ozone and creates a formaldehyde or a peroxide in the air. So we don't want that. We want the therapy, and that's it. And so less is more. Less is more.
You don't know until you find out, wow, I didn't know it went this deep. And then I'm like, no wonder I've been doing it all wrong. I even have like an aromatherapy thing, distiller for my car, where I was putting some lemon drops in and putting it in the lighter. And I'm probably doing it completely wrong, just going through orange scent or lemon scent or lavender scent, not really even knowing what scent is for what. And so maybe we can talk about some of the scents that you like to include. And I mean, obviously, medicinally, we have to figure out what best proportion. I didn't realize it went this deep, which is really interesting, though.
I just want to put a message here, is that aromatherapy is not an entertainment. This is the thing. A lot of people, it has become very trendy and very much so like an entertainment, creating an ambiance and creating sort of this thing. It's more of a therapy. And when we use it as a therapy, it's very effective. When we don't and we overuse it, it actually has adverse effects. That's a very important point I want to get across. And the same thing that goes with the skincare as well. When we're making skincare, less is better, especially for the skin. So
it's interesting. I mean, I would use it in ways like, well, it's better than Glade or any of that other garbage.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I was like, well, here's a natural way, or any of those other car scent things that you would hang in your car that are just poisonous chemicals. I thought aromatherapy using these natural scents would be a good substitution, but it turns out, you really have to know what you're doing.
You don't need a substitution, though, Steve, is that we actually, I don't use a diffuser in my home, only when I need it, if there's a cold or a flu, or if I feel like I need to get some sleep or something like that, I will use the diffuser, and I usually take a bath. But there's other ways to utilize to create a healthy environment with essential oils, is maybe cleaning with essential oils. We don't need these fragrances continuously in our homes. This is a lot of people have that illusion that they need this fragrance in their home. The best fragrance is opening up the window and having fresh air. And and in your car as well is just cleaning, wiping down your car with a little bit of lavender and a little bit of water and soap. And so that will create a car that basically is pleasant to drive in as well. Because when you're diffusing it in your car, it oxidizes as well.
Interesting. And also I found in the car it was the same kind of thing. It was like after a while, I couldn't even really notice that anything was there anymore. Where I first started using it, it was like, wow, this is great. And then I was needing to put more and more drops into the distiller to get more of a scent in there because I felt like I was acclimated. I felt like I don't notice this great smell anymore.
Are you talking about on a regular, like while you're driving, or just when you walk into the car?
Well, my car had a stale smell to it, so I was trying to, freshen it up with the I was using orange for the lavender.
Okay, so
orange central enough.
Yeah. So orange would evaporate very quickly. It's in a functional group that it will evaporate very quickly. It's constituent. It's very volatile. It wouldn't be the first oil I would use in an area that you want the scent to linger. But what you can do to capture that smell and to get rid of the smell is take a little bit of baking powder, baking soda, and a few drops of lavender and put it into a paper bag and leave it open there. And you will have that scent evaporating into the car, and it will evaporate naturally as well.
That's a great idea.
And that will deodorize the car on many levels.
The other way was like a piece of gum that loses its flavor in 2 minutes. That's what it kind of seems like with when we're playing with this medicine.
Yep. Yeah.
So, great. So let's talk a little about what led to, you're living your passion, doing your work, you get the book and you've got the certification program, all these amazing things. We've got some people that are certified juice therapists that are on the path of living their passion. What made you decide to go into this and live your life spreading this message?
Well, it was, as I said, it started off with my own personal journey, and then it became, I evolved into wanting to know more, into doing research. The whole, my educational programs are all research-based, evidence-based materials, and to make, and to give the student and the student information that was solid and wasn't something that was at the time it was new age, okay? Where now is it's very important for people to understand the science behind the essential oils and how it is so effective as a therapy. So I moved it from a school, from my research and into a school and educating many therapists to become a certified aromatherapist. And here in Canada, recognized by the Canadian Federation of Aromatherapists as well.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because obviously there's not a lot of information out there. I mean, as much as I thought I knew, now I'm talking to you, I realized I knew nothing about aromatherapy or the power of it or what you teach also, how to use it in our natural personal care products, which we're also interested to hear a little about actually what you've learned about using these oils in that capacity.
Yeah, so that's the second part. That's another dimension in my career as well, is because I was using it for therapy, I actually started using it in my personal care products and my family's personal care products with my children, my husband, and so forth. And using your essential oils, and it's not only the essential oils, it's also the base oils, the carrier oils, the fixed oils that have essential fatty acids in them, is that they basically help me eliminate toxins that I don't want in my life. So everybody needs personal care products, from moisturizers, body lotions, soaps and shampoos. And we want that, we want to be free of any form of synthetic chemicals. So we decided to create personal care products, and that's where the book comes in as well, and live in a way where you're actually self-sustaining. And I have not bought a personal care product for maybe 25 years. I make everything myself.
And the book's got the guidelines. It's the Aromatherapy Beauty Guide, right? And you've got pretty much the roadmaps to creating almost any personal care product in there?
Well, yes, most of the personal care products, such as your body lotions, your body oils, your moisturizers, your scrubs, and I forgot, there's so many. There's over 101 recipes in the book.
It's a beautiful book. We've got a copy here, and it's phenomenal. Where do you say is a good starting point for those that want to dive deeper, learn more about this? And we'd love for you to share your website so that our friends and family could have a look at everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, are you talking about where you can find this information? Or are you talking about where would you want to
get started with you to learn more about all of this?
Oh, we have a info at healingfragrances.net. It's the school's website, and you can get a hold of me. We have certification programs. We have also creams and lotions programs. We have one coming up in perfume making, a natural perfume making program, which is not the science. It's actually the art of aromatherapy as well.
Awesome. And we'll put a link to that under the show notes at juicegururadio.com for those that want to have a look. Danielle, that's great. And I guess I know we have so much time, only so much time left, but can you speak to some of the benefits as to going down this road, learning more about this, and how it would change our lives if we start to use our own natural care products and aromatherapy essential oils along with that?
Well, first of all, once again, I just said it was self-sustaining. I basically rely on myself. Just like how to make a juice, I know how to make a cream, and I just make a cream. I need a moisturizer, so I make a cream, and not to mention, and I know what I'm putting in there. I know what I'm using, and not to mention, economically speaking, cosmetics are very expensive. Personal care products are very expensive. Like, we can make a batch of lip balms. Like, there are recipes in the books for lip balms. Like, I make a batch of lip balms 30 at a time. So with that being said, is even that, and I have to give them away. Sometimes I have so much, I have to give them away. But for your family and friends, and if you want to go into market, that's a different story. But it basically goes on to it's the starting point if you even want to go commercial. Let's say, is understanding the book is giving you a starting point if you want to go commercial in this field as well. And so the benefits, so with that being said, the benefits of using the essential oils is also, that you're using something that is non-synthetic and actually is going to address the physical body and your skin, the largest organ in the body. And also, while you're using it, it also has an effect on the nervous system as well. And it will calm you down and relax you. So when I wake up in the morning and I create a serum, I have a serum that I use on my face. I don't just put on a serum just to moisturize my face. I need that mindfulness. I need that moment to calm and relax. And I take the time to breathe with it as well.
Do you find it's time consuming to have to create your own products? Some people might say, I don't have the time for all that. Maybe it's easier for me to just go to the health store and get some sort of natural cream.
No, it actually is not time consuming. The only thing you need to do is dedicate a space for it. Like, you can't make a cream if you're creating a juice at the same counter. Okay? There's no way you can do that. You got to be really careful with the preservatives. You really got to be careful with, good manufacturing practices as well. You can have a whole section in your house just dedicated to making your creams. Just like you have a section like a kitchen, you'll have a section to create a cream and a lotion and your personal care products. That's how I live. Okay, so this is my...
So you're talking about, that's like one of the first steps. That's a great first step, to create a space to do this. Then it's kind of like putting that juicer out on the counter. We know we're going to juice. It's there. We're reminded that's our space, but it's just specifically for this.
That's right. You create a space for this, and you have all the utensils dedicated for this as well. And you then you make your products. And it's actually, it's a choice a person makes. It's a choice that you dedicate yourself to by learning about it, because you need knowledge. Knowledge is the most important tool by doing anything, even juicing. Knowledge is very important. And when you're learning how to make a cream or a lotion or a personal care product, you need to understand it, understand what you're using, what the fundamental concepts are, and then you become self-sustaining with it as well. And it's a lifestyle choice. It truly is a lifestyle choice. And it's also environmentally friendly as well, because when you're making your own products, you're not using so many, you're not using so much packaging and a lot of waste in the personal care products come with as well.
And it could be cruelty free too, which people can realize you don't have to have your products tested on animals. You can create your own.
Yes, if you're doing it, yes. And most cosmetic companies are really aware of the cruelty free. But once again, testing is a different story completely. Testing is a completely different story. If you are going to create a product for professional commercial use, it does need to be tested. Okay?
Are you doing a commercial line too?
I do some commercial lines on private labels, and
nice.
Yeah. But once again, you can basically make your own and do it on your. on your own.
Lots of fun. Well, Danielle, anything else we didn't touch on during the interview here that you wanted to share with our audience and those interested in this awesome arena that you're working in?
Well, I can give you a little example of a product you can make on your own that is actually is something that is basically, it has a long shelf life and it's not so complicated. Is we can make an apricot kernel serum, facial serum. Okay, and it's easy. It's just like you can use 25 mils of apricot kernel, which is a beautiful, very gentle emollient, and adding a 5 mil rosehip oil, and you can 1 drop of rose oil, and then you have a beautiful facial serum that you can use twice a day. And it's that simple.
Easy as that. And, what do you think of those? I've seen those new aromatherapy inhalers. What do you think of those?
Oh, they're excellent. They're very good. They're very good for people who experience stress and anxiety, and they're like an anchor. I call them the anchor. Like when somebody has palpitations or feeling anxious about something that they're about to do, is you taking out that inhaler and inhaling 1 minute or 2 minutes and just taking a nice breath with the essential oil that was formulated for that individual. It's wonderful. And then once again, it's really good if there's colds and flus, is that you have oils such as Ravensara, Cajeput, eucalyptus that you will inhale. They're decongestants.
And it's Danielle Sade, S-A-D-E was the last name. And the name of the book, again, is the Aromatherapy Beauty Guide. And that book is available on Amazon, bookstores worldwide. Isn't that right, Danielle?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing the wisdom, the generous work you're doing. It's really phenomenal.
Well, you're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm Steve Prusek, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Juice Guru Radio. Find out more about us at juicegururadio.com. Until next time, get your juice on.